Hello and welcome back to Jessup Says Home. This is a place where I encourage you to buy less and restore more. This was a roadside rescue. One of my friends spotted it on the roadside out for hard rubbish collection and flicked me a message and said, "Do you want it?" Of course I want it. And so here it is. It's been in the little backlog for a while, but I've been super excited to get started on it. As you can see, rather dusty, full of cobwebs, and has already had a makeshift fix. So it's desperately in need of some love to give it a second life. First impressions, I am thinking of changing up the hardware. So these, swapping the glass out for either rattan, or I'm thinking I could even do some wood rods. We shall see. Paint job, definitely giving it a lick of paint. Probably going for the two-tone, so doing majority of it white with keeping the interior that wooden natural state. And then I think we're going to be ditching this door. I don't see a huge need for it, so I think we'll just forego it. Have a general idea of what we'd like to achieve, but it is something that is iterative, and as you work on it and have time with it, you change things. It's just part of the process. An outline of the process we're going to follow. We will give it a clean. We will then disassemble it, all the hardware off, a scuff sand, 240 grit, all over, ready for painting. We're then going to test drive our paint sprayer that I've just recently invested in. Paintbrushes are fine, that's what you've got, go for it. We're heading into winter, and so time and weather is really hard to juggle, so that hence the investment of the paint sprayer. We'll give that a go. We will need to do a couple of coats there. Same on the hardware. I have some very interesting hardware, not the colour I wanted, too hard to find the exact specs, so we're going to make it the exact specs. So I'll be spraying this to the shade I want as well. We will then put it all back together and see what it looks like. Clean and dry-ish. It'll dry as I disassemble. Oh, that was quick. Yeah, next disassembling. Let's do it. So the reason we disassemble is to make it a lot easier in sanding. If we take off the hardware, there's no cause to scuff up our sanding block, which will in turn make you use more sanding paper. So take off the hardware, you're going to save yourself a lot of time trying to work around that hardware had you have just left it on. Oh, I'm out of breath to really charge through all of that cleaning. Oh. And my heart rate's up because I had to clean out all the cobwebs. Yeah. Caught it. Don't recommend doing that. So I like to store everything I need to go back on in a safe space so I don't lose any of the materials before they need to go back onto the furniture. Where I can, I try to reuse what I can rather than replace. So most of this hardware is in pretty good condition, so it will all go back. Right, we are ready to do a scuff sand. So we've done a wipe down, dried it, and now it will be ready to have about a 240 grit. So just a really light sand, basically to scuff the surface so that when we go to paint it, it will take to the wood really well. That will happen all over. We'll then wipe it down and it'll be ready for painting. Always wear PPE. So I've got ear muffs, respirator, just changed out the filters, and glasses. Yeah, your body's not replaceable, or it is, I guess, but probably not what you want to be doing. So always be safe.
I've sped this up for your viewing, but I typically like to go with the grain. I'm scuffing up the handles so that these will take paint more easily. Using some wood filler to fill in the existing hardware holes, as the new hardware will have to have different holes. I give this a really nice wipe down just with a wet cloth to remove all of the dust ready for painting. You can also use a tack cloth, but I do find this a cheaper method in the long term.
Okay, we are going to mask off the areas that we don't want to spray. A big thing with this piece is that I want to maintain the inside colour. That way it uses less paint, less time, but it also gives a little bit of interest, so that the contrast of what I'm planning to do is white with the existing natural wood. So we will make sure that it doesn't get painted. Okay, in going to mask it, I have changed my mind. This happens. It's all part of the project and the process. So I'll tell you why. This bottom shelf has no varnish on it compared to this shelf. So if I was to leave the interior natural or wood and the exterior white, this third shelf, which I'm going to make a shelf and ditch that door, is going to look like an ugly duckling or odd one out. So I am going to spray paint everything white. The other reason for doing this is the backboard is MDF and it's ugly. So we're going to kill two birds with one stone, or paint in this example. Typically I do enjoy the contrast, but this is going to be a win-win for us all. So I'm going to just fill in these spots with some wood filler to make sure that they are not seen. I sometimes use a palette knife, sometimes a finger is just a little bit easier. Let's push that in. Essentially, when this can be sanded and it turns to sawdust, that's when it is dry. It does tend to change to a lighter colour as well, which gives you a good indication if it is ready to be sanded. So while I spray the top and the back and so forth, this will be drying. For best painting, I'm going to remove the black frame and hope it doesn't fall apart. We shall see. And let's give it a go.
ended up having to get my husband to help me separate that one out. It was quite tricky to get apart, but I'm glad I did it for painting. So I'm using a prep and prime spray, hence not doing a separate primer. This was actually a really effective spray paint, so I'll tag it below. As always, follow the can instructions. Just do light coats. You can do multiple coats and always moving. I was so excited to use my new sprayer. It definitely took a few goes to get the hang of it. You use it very similar to how you'd mow a lawn in overlapping sprays. For pieces like this, I really recommend it. It just means that you can cover the surface much faster. Otherwise, you can always use a paintbrush or a roller, whatever you're more comfortable with. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting. If you'd like to see part 2, please like and subscribe.